Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. Every single day, we're witnessing a wave of eager Gen Zers stepping into the workforce. And trust me, they're not here to blend in, they're here to shake things up. You see, not too long ago, switching jobs frequently raised red flags for employers. But now, the game is changing as Gen Z and younger millennials show us a whole new perspective.
You should strategically job hop, that you will gain more money from these hops, you will gain experience and responsibility quicker, and your career will have more momentum if you do these hops.
Your compensation will skyrocket. For me, this is how much it increased in a 3-year span.
Job hopping and maximizing your earnings is all well and good under good economic conditions. But I studied economics. I know that the state of the economy is always a cycle. There's always an expansionary period followed by a contractionary period. And if companies are willing to sign on a new hire that's probably at a higher starting salary than some of their tenured employees, who do you think is going to be the first to go when the economy is not so great?
But here's where things get interesting. Layoffs aren't just about economic downturns anymore. They're happening proactively in anticipation of tough times. This change is being led by many Gen Z workers to prioritize their career growth over unwavering company loyalty while embracing a little risk along the way.
The average number of years someone spends in a job is around 4 years, and there is no perfect amount of time to spend in a job. If you feel valued in that job, supported, like you're growing, learning, being compensated, enjoying what you're doing, then maybe that is the right place for you to be right now. And when you decide that you don't want to be at that company anymore, you're not happy in the role, you're not feeling like it's the right place for you to be, and you start thinking about leaving, get into a job that is going to be a better fit somewhere else.
So many people opt for job changes to chase better opportunities and juicier paychecks. Who can blame them? But there's always that lingering question: how does this look on my resume? Recruiters are feeling it too. While the startup scene tends to be more forgiving, traditional employers still raise an eyebrow at job hoppers. Hiring managers often find it tricky to assess someone's performance when they've been in a role for less than 2 years.
Somebody comes in for a job interview, and in the last 5 years they've had 20 jobs. How do you look at them?
There's a problem.
Somebody
Something's
comes
wrong.
for a job interview, and they're 32 years old, and from 22 till 32, they've worked at 2 companies. How do you look at them?
Yeah, positive.
Positive. I sit there and I say, wow, the fact that this person was able to stay at 2 companies for 12 years tells me they're mentally tough, they're emotionally tough, they don't jump to conclusions, they're rational, they can see the other side, they probably take responsibility.
On the other hand, a significant number of managers hold a rather refreshing perspective. They're not fixated on counting the years you've spent at a company. Instead, they're inclined to consider a diverse array of factors when determining your suitability for their team.
From the perspective of a manager, all they really care about is the following 3 things. 1, is this person qualified? Are they able to do the work? 2, do I actually like them? Do I feel like that I'm going to get along with them in my day-to-day? And number 3, will hiring this person make my life easier as a manager?
And it looks like there's a generation gap at play here. The older crowd sometimes struggles to grasp and accept it. But hey, times have changed and we're in a whole new world now. Maybe our Gen Z pals know a thing or two?
You can't leave your job. You just started a year and a half ago. Dad, this job pays $40,000 more and is a title increase. Sure, but what does this short stint say about you as an employee? You'll look like a flight risk. No, I look like I know how the hell to make more money and advance my career. It's a different time. I can't just wait around and be a good soldier and wait for my cookie. This generation isn't dumb. We don't owe these people but...
Staying in the workplace, and let's examine productivity. Whether it is the corporate culture, the employee tracking systems, or your own perfectionism, it's easy to find yourself drowning in today's expectations of efficiency. But in most cases, it's the standards that we set for ourselves that get us the most. If you've been a student in the social media era or anyone working to achieve a goal, I bet you've looked up advice online at one point, and the internet is full of it. From the study blur girlies to hustle bros, there's now a niche group of influencers offering you inspiration at each site. You can download their templates for the organization apps they partnered with or copy their calendars altogether, yet still fail to be as effective as they are.
This is the calendar I made for yesterday. As productivity YouTubers say to do, I included a high energy task, a low energy task, and some fun recreational activity for the evening. Now in terms of what I actually did, I managed to wake up, which was unfortunate, and then I did literally none of this. Not even this. In fact, this happens basically every time I try to implement a productivity hack from YouTube. For example, I'd barely eaten from my Notion plate. I used this for about 2 days. But all this is clearly my fault, right? After all, productivity YouTubers know what they're talking about. Ali Abdul makes over $1 million a year and has a really good pyramid scheme course for getting big on YouTube. Karma Medic is like a medic. But after a lot of thinking about it, I realized that's actually just ridiculous. I realized that actually they are the problem. Most productivity YouTubers always claim they're able to work for many hours on end. So you would think they'd be able to give some logical and actionable advice on how they actually do that. This is Karma Medic, and this is how he studies for 4 hours without any breaks.
I honestly don't allow myself to get up and out of my desk until I've done an hour of study. If I haven't been able to sit down and do productive, solid work for an hour, do I really deserve to go take a break? No.
Heard it here, guys. Don't get out of your chair until you've done some work. You want to go to the toilet? Go yourself. A productive person would just themselves in their chair. And there are plenty of other absurd examples that, if I included in this video, would make it way too long. But above all, the thing that annoys me the most, apart from these absurd examples, are just how generic the advice actually is. Let's look at how Zach Hiley studies for 70+ hours a week. In the first chapter of the video, he talks about sleep, where he basically just says if you get a sufficient amount of sleep each night, then you can actually function better during the next day, which, you know, honestly just blew my mind when I found out about that.
Okay, that was a bit harsh, but still it's true, I think. Just like any other topic that became influenceable, productivity culture is also toxic. We're glorifying being at the top of your game all the time, letting go of any sense of work-life balance for ambition and simply being too busy without even realizing we're turning into this.
So how's it going? I'm so busy. I'm even busier. I'm actually the busiest. Between the new business I started, the current business that I have, and my passion project, I guess you could say I'm pretty busy. Yeah, I guess between working out with a personal trainer, starting my new YouTube channel, and grocery shopping for my vegan diet, I guess this is the busiest I've ever been in my entire life. I'm actually starting my own winery, which keeps me pretty busy. I'm super busy writing my memoir. I've been rescuing dogs. I'm saving the ocean. I'm having a baby. I'm having twins. Twins? Sounds like you're pretty busy then. Swamped.
Now our next story takes us to a brutal alien landscape where life seems impossible.
If you thought I was down, if you thought I was losing sleep.
This is Chile's Atacama Desert, where it almost never rains. Here, some of the world's hardest fungi and algae grow with scores of brightly colored wildflowers. Sadly, the desert is also a bizarre fashion nightmare. Piles upon piles of cheap unsold clothing scattered across the desert floor.
Where unwanted fast fashion goes, clothing gets imported to Chile, where traders take what they want and dump what they don't. Officials say it's piling up in the Atacama Desert.
Shein party dresses, H&M sweaters, Zara shoes, and much, much more. The dump site has an estimated 60,000 tons of clothes coming from all over the world. And that mountain of unwanted fast fashion garments that aren't biodegradable is probably going to keep growing. Now here comes the superhero squad ready to rescue our planet, Gen Z. By fearlessly tackling topics that were swept under the rug or simply ignored, like mental health, the rights of Indigenous people, and racism, these dynamic individuals have been shaking things up in a way no other generation has dared to before. And they also have their green game on point.
I feel like our legacy could be to almost save the planet. What are your thoughts on what's been going on recently with the recent climate change? You got this Greta girl.
I think it is so awesome. I love Greta. I'm like the biggest fangirl. And I think what is really amazing, what we're seeing in the world right now, is that young people are energizing the entire adult population.
That's what I'm saying by it's our generation is going to be, our legacy could be we've saved the planet.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
We're all in a bit of trouble, aren't we? You know?
But ironically, our eco-warriors have a big problem. Gen Z can't stop buying new clothes. In a study by the vintage resale platform ThredUp, a whopping 1/3 of Gen Z participants confessed to feeling hooked on fast fashion. 35% admitted to splurging their precious time and hard-earned cash on clothes that don't last longer than trends. And with an endless stream of fresh inventory hitting the shelves, fast fashion has created a culture where more is more. And guess what? A staggering 45% can't resist the temptation. Why? Well, the low prices and social media pressure, of course. It looks like Gen Z can't slow down their scroll when it comes to shopping. 40% of them find themselves glued to fast fashion sites or apps on a daily basis. And to top it off, 1 in 2 indulge in watching fast fashion hauls on social media every single week or even more frequently. We can't blame them. Scrolling through TikTok or Instagram nowadays feels like stepping into a virtual shopping mall where everything is up for grabs. With shopping features and ads popping up left and right, it's a shopaholic's dream come true. It's so instant, like a one-way ticket to impulsive buying, exactly what fast fashion companies thrive on. But hey, imagine if sustainable brands hopped on this live shopping bandwagon. They could entice more young folks to actually purchase the clothes they claim they want to buy and make their own name in the industry. Plus, re-wearing is always a good look.
The most sustainable clothing is what's already in your closet. Even eco brands require resources to produce and have a footprint on our planet. The average person buys 68 garments per year and wears only 7 times before tossing. Re-wearing instead of continually refreshing our closets is an easy and free way to be kind to the planet.
From sustainable fashion to the ever-changing world of entertainment. Adaptations like The Last of Us and Arcane are more popular than ever, and streaming giants are banking on this shift. Many companies like Sony and Amazon are further investing in anime and gaming content, and they're not the only ones betting on this plan. Sari takes a look at why streaming giants are pushing to make geeky content mainstream.
The latest front of the streaming war is anime. Netflix may be synonymous with streaming, but in the world of anime, Crunchyroll is everyone's go-to. But of late, Netflix has been giving Crunchyroll a run for its money.
So my main one is Crunchyroll, and then I love the anime on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and there's a new, I forgot the platform, but there's a new anime platform that's not used as much.
I watch all anime platforms and I cannot choose one as the best. I like them all. But Netflix runs Cardcaptor Sakura, which I'm cosplaying, so it, in particular, is a must.
The genre, once niche and seen as nerdy, is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. In 2022, the global anime market was valued at $28 billion. It's expected to reach over $30 billion this year, and double by 2030. Demand for anime skyrocketed during the pandemic. It's no wonder streaming giants are rushing to cash in. Platforms are trying to expand their libraries, mainly by securing exclusive rights to popular anime titles, or by producing originals if they're bold enough. And Netflix's bet seems to have paid off. The platform has added dozens of original titles in the recent years, and some of them may soon become cult classics. Even though they're getting brand new shows thanks to the streaming war, some fans, like this YouTuber, don't think platforms fighting over exclusives is good for the genre.
I think that spreading out anime like this and buying the license exclusive for your platform makes it much harder, especially for newer series that are just starting out. But that's not really the big issue with these companies buying up the rights to these series and flipping them as their originals. You see, Netflix and Disney share a commonality in this anime acquisition debacle, and that's them mishandling these properties. When I say mishandle, it's more the way they distribute them by locking them up until they finish so they're bingeable, and that would be all fine if they actually released it once the series completed, but they keep it locked up months after it's finished with no reason why.
Despite Netflix's best efforts, the sector is far from being a monopoly, and competition is only making the industry more exciting.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.